to do a Maltese on floor coming up here in a second. The strength from Riley Moose on exhibit right here.
That is so cool. Watch this dismount right here. I'm going to let you guess what this one's called.
Is that a Roethlisberger?
That is a Roethlisberger. Ian Gunther, my favorite collegiate gymnast.
You will immediately notice that titanium brace on Meeker's right knee. He is competing with a torn ACL that he actually suffered on this apparatus, a dismount on the rings. He has changed the dismount just to a front layout full twist to alleviate some of the pain, but he will have surgery on Wednesday. He is John Roethlisberger, the three-time all-around NCAA champion and the three-time Olympian. Joel Godett. And John, you talk to these coaches to a man. They have all been to the Olympics in one capacity or another, but tonight is their favorite meet of the year.
This meet is incredible.
Michigan has never had an individual pommel horse champion as well, so this could be the year. And that's a good start.
That was fantastic. He was fighting in that routine. That was not perfect for him, but he minimized any major errors and certainly avoided the catastrophic fall from the pommel horse. They got to be happy with that.
It's your first look at Stanford on the vault. This is Curran Phillips.
Nice. We've got 3 teams that are #1 ranked in the country on their #1 ranked events. So Stanford's #1 on vault, Michigan #1 on pommel horse, and Oklahoma #1 on floor exercise. And that was a fantastic effort.
And important to build big numbers. When you're on your strength early, get your feet underneath of you.
And it's important for Stanford to hit that vault rotation because that's the highest scoring event in men's gymnastics. They want to have a big lead after one rotation.
This is the sophomore out of Wales, Josh Cook for Illinois. He has become such a huge staple as Illinois has been ravaged by injuries this year and other things. Clay Mason-Stevens, their best all-arounder, is back home in Australia training for the Olympic trials.
That's a story in and of itself, but yeah, the challenges this Illini team has had this year. Coach Justin Spring is just kind of, he shakes his head when he talks about it. It's been brutal. Every team has had their challenges, but Illinois, with the injuries as well on top of it, has been rough, and that was not good. Getting up very slowly, just did not turn over off the rings. Missed a handstand in there as well, so that is a catastrophic start for the Illini.
First look at Minnesota. This is Victor Perez. His head coach calls him Victory Perez.
Well, they need to be perfect. As we said, Minnesota, big underdog, even just to make it in here. It would be a huge accomplishment for them to be as high as 5th, I would say, but bottom line is they just need to do their best gymnastics. There's no defense in this sport. You just got to go out and hit your stuff. And this routine so far, 3 Tkachevs, a variety of different Tkachevs done there. Landings will be big time for Minnesota. If you stick it, it's an extra bonus 10th. There's one.
Green flag's up. That's the start on an apparatus that most teams don't want to start on.
Absolutely not. I hated starting on high bar as a gymnast. Your nerves are at their pinnacle, and you got to go up and you got to live on the edge, and that is what high bar is all about. But they came out in the qualification round, and they were outstanding on that event, trying to replicate it again.
Brandon Wynn here on the vault, the freshman for Stanford.
Man alive, that's just so good. Their leadoff had a 14.733. That is a massive vault score, and that's going to be a big number as well.
Marcus Shears, after a couple of 13s here for Michigan.
13s are good scores on pommel horse. Those are very good scores, especially for your first couple guys up.
Now Marcus is capable of a 14. He has broken that this season. 12th in the country here.
It's going to take epic performance on pommel horse today to break a 14, and that is not going to do it. So he's got 30 seconds to get back up on the apparatus. He kind of looked just like a circle, wasn't quite comfortable throughout that routine, and you really want to get a rhythm on pommel horse, and certainly he broke it there. Now it's important, this score is going to count to their team score, so it's so important he gets up and finishes clean. You can't let one mistake lead to another. That's a good finish, but I tell you what, Michigan's going to be kicking themselves a little bit because this is an event they have an advantage over the entire field. Come out first, hit 5 horse routines, and they would put themselves in such a great position, but they gave one away there.
It'll be a big spot for Paul Judah and Cameron Bach, the 2 Olympic hopefuls who are the penultimate and the anchor on that. This is Dylan Young now, the sophomore from California, in the 3rd spot on parallel bars for Nebraska.
And a nice start for them, 2 high 13s. They'd like to get into the 14s, if at all possible. Dylan starts from a 14-7. It's so hard to have less than a point in deductions.
By score, this is Nebraska's 2nd lowest event. They're 7th in the country on parallel bars, but their coach Chuck Jamelka said, hey, we're good. We're darn good. Just haven't put it together yet.
That was a good routine. He had some difficulty in there, and he likes it.
Back to the horse. We mentioned Paul Judah. Here he is, a sophomore from the Chicagoland area. He is 2nd in the country, a season high 14.35 here.
Watch this work right here. Flare up to the handstand, back down. That is ridiculous. You see people do that on floor, but obviously you have such a bigger margin for error on floor. This is sweet gymnastics.
And the style that he uses here minimizes the risk for deduction traveling the horse.
It does. It helps with that skew. And skew is when you're kind of not square to the length of the horse. And that is just magnificent. I've got pommel horse envy from that guy. Those are all skills I tried to do when I was a gymnast, and it wasn't going to happen. That's awesome. Man, that was a pressure situation as well.
Michigan hasn't had a pommel horse champion throw down the early gauntlet here as we go back to floor in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma is crushing this floor rotation, and they've got a couple big routines to finish. All scores into the 14s. Morgan's an amazing story. Had meningitis as an infant. Did not think that he would survive. Had a stroke during that whole process and lost the use of part of his body. Had to relearn how to use a whole half of his body. And it's been a challenging road from the time he was an infant. But man, what a story! And to be a gymnast after all that, probably the sport that requires the most physically demanding sport. One of them is just amazing.
He is the floor champion at his conference, the NPSF. Went 14-1-3 yesterday in qualifying, and it's not always the most natural, Mark Williams said, but he does his darndest to make it look that way.
And you like to see that. Look out, Oklahoma. They are coming out of the gate strong, stuck landing at the end. Bonus 10th.
This is now the rotation to watch here for Minnesota, and the particular routine, because Dante McKinney, Mike Burns said, was the spark routine in their season high on high bar last night.
Yeah, he was amazing, and he can fly. Just floats 15 feet in the air over a stationary steel bar. Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
That is just awesome. And this is just a carbon copy of his performance in the preliminaries. We've got one stuck landing in this rotation. Can it be 2? Not quite. Hop forward, that's probably a 3/10 hop. And it's funny, you can tell by the body language they want to stick those landings, but that was great nonetheless.
We saw what Paul Judah did. It is scored a 13-8. Cameron Bach, what say you?
They need a big one. I actually thought Paul Judah's score should have been a little higher than a 13-8. It felt like a 14 to me, but that, oh my goodness. A major break, but he stayed on and he actually covered it up pretty well.
Turned it into a scissor.
He did. It will be a significant deduction. His leg bent and hit the horse, and he'll lose some difficulty, but I'll tell you what, only a veteran can do what Cameron Bach is doing right now, and I'll tell you what, you can't win a national title on the first event, but moments like that, avoiding catastrophe for Michigan, could pay dividends and mean the difference when you get to the end.
He's the Big Ten champion. He's #1 in the country for a reason. As we take a look now at Gage Dyer, who's coming back from an injury, missed 6 weeks earlier this season with a muscle injury to his lat, where he worked some routines so that he doesn't have to use his arms as much. There's no back handspringing in this floor routine. And John, it would knock most gymnasts out.
That pass he just did, the double twisting, double layout. You can't tell me this guy's ever had an injury. He's RoboCop, man. It is incredible. Look at that, double front half. I will be very interested to see Stanford's vault score compared to Oklahoma's floor score, because you should absolutely have a lead after vault if you're Stanford, but the floor routines that Oklahoma has done in this first rotation are sick. The scores, the last one, Morgan Seiler, a 14-6, and Gage Dyer with this routine capable of even more. Starts from a 16-1. Can he stick it? Ah, you gotta be kidding me! The specialist of the year! Again, from Michigan on horse with Cameron Bach with that save. This floor rotation for Oklahoma. When you get to the finish line, it's moments like that could mean the difference.
They're 9/10 back of Stanford between floor and vault right now.
That is not good for Stanford, I'll tell you that right now.
There's Brandon Briones now on the vault.
Oh, that was so good, man. Heavyweights, just body blow after body blow.